So this one night, 50 called me up, and they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old time shit. Sit down with Black Hands, sit down with with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be.
When Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. Pac just had died.
When 50 Cent dropped his explosive Netflix doc Sean Diddy Combs The Reckoning, people thought the spotlight had finally landed where it should, right on Diddy. His rise, his empire, his influence, and the chaos that followed all took center stage. But before the dust could even settle, the internet switched lanes fast. Out of nowhere, Snoop Dogg's name started flying around online. Clips, theories, and wild takes flooded social media, hinting that Snoop was suddenly keeping things quiet, maybe even being protected from something. Some posts claimed there was mysterious footage that never made it into the documentary, and that's when things really started spinning out of control. A few commentators took it even further, saying Gene Deal and others dropped clues suggesting Snoop was mixed up in something darker than what Diddy was facing. These claims spread like wildfire, built from chopped up interviews, grainy clips, and even old prison call recordings that people stitched together to sound real. Once again, social media turned the heat all the way up, twisting questions into proof and gossip into facts. Fans started asking why Snoop wasn't speaking up, if 50 Cent was hiding more than he showed, and whether another major name in the industry was about to fall. But when the smoke clears and the noise dies down, a totally different story comes into focus. Most of these rumors trace back to exaggerations, recycled claims, and people chasing views instead of truth. In this breakdown, we'll trace where these wild allegations really started, and what's real versus what's just internet hype. Let's dig into what Gene Deal really said, what 50 Cent's documentary did and didn't show, and how Snoop Dogg actually responded to all the noise. The key here is figuring out what's confirmed, what's been flat out denied, and what's still completely unproven, all while Diddy's fallout keeps shaking up the industry. But online, things went wild fast. Snoop Dogg's name started trending right next to some of the most serious accusations imaginable, and not because of hard evidence, but because of association. Snoop's been in the game for decades, rubbing shoulders with giants like Diddy, Suge Knight, and every major name that came up during hip-hop's most explosive years. That's where the connection started. Not proof, just proximity. Then came Gene Deal, the former bodyguard who used to roll close with Diddy. After the documentary dropped, his interviews and reaction clips lit up the internet. Deal hinted that certain people were nervous, saying not everything made it into the final cut. That one comment sent rumor-filled channels into overdrive. Suddenly, whispers popped up claiming 50 Cent was holding back footage, names, and evidence to protect the industry from total exposure. In that kind of frenzy, Snoop became an easy target. Too famous, too connected, and too visible on both coasts. Old interviews got dug up and reposted, old Suge Knight prison calls resurfaced, and wild stories about supposed flash drives linked to Kim Porter started spreading like they were confirmed facts. None of it was solid, but it sure got clicks. Soon, a dangerous story started to form. People took Snoop's silence as guilt, his fame as proof, and his connections as conspiracy. But when you look at each claim separately, the picture changes completely. There's no evidence tying Snoop to any wrongdoing, just the reality that he existed in the same world, at the same time with the same powerful people who shaped an era. This is where things get really risky. When being close to the action starts counting as proof, the truth gets lost, and what's left is just a storm of suspicion. Once proximity replaces evidence, stories stop being about facts. They turn into whispers dressed up as revelations. In these moments, it's the loudest voices that drown out the truth, and those voices are rarely the most accurate. Sean Diddy Combs' The Reckoning was never meant to be some massive industry takedown. Its focus was always locked in on one man, Diddy himself. The documentary walked viewers through his rise with Bad Boy Records, his massive influence, and the system that kept him untouchable for years. It gave the spotlight to real victim testimonies, revealed patterns of control and manipulation, and most importantly, stayed grounded in legal reality, the same reality that led to Diddy's conviction and that 50-month prison sentence. That's what the documentary was about. But what it didn't do is just as crucial. It didn't throw random names into the fire. It didn't accuse Snoop Dogg or any other celebrity of crimes without proof. It didn't show any footage of Snoop doing anything wrong. Those claims about 50 Cent hiding evidence or protecting Snoop, pure speculation, nothing more. Curtis Jackson's been clear from day one. He only put out what could be verified and backed by his legal team. Anything beyond that, that's the internet filling in blanks with imagination, not facts. If anything, the documentary showed restraint, a rare move in today's world, where shock value usually steals the show. The documentary was careful, very careful. It refused to name anyone unless there were real records or solid testimony, strong enough to stand up to scrutiny. That's exactly why all this talk about hidden footage stays nothing more than talk. No verified clips have surfaced, no court files mention Snoop Dogg, and no investigators have ever labeled him a suspect or even a person of interest. What's even more telling, after the documentary dropped, Snoop actually showed love to 50 Cent. He publicly backed Curtis Jackson, making it clear there was zero beef between them. That alone tears a huge hole in the rumor that Snoop was scared about what 50 might expose. Fear doesn't usually come with public support and open respect. That's the opposite of panic.
Diddy was doing a documentary thinking he was going to come out triumphant.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how this started, is he started filming himself and getting this footage because he thought he was going to beat everything. Okay,
Diddy
that makes sense. Okay.
Has a relationship
with Netflix. I knew that.
With
Ted Sarandis. I saw that. Yes. Okay.
And he's filming it there. But of course, when you get, obviously it wasn't a clean sweep on the prosecutor's side, but you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
He basically kind of scraps it. It's not also Netflix is saying, because they commissioned it, right? Netflix is saying, all right, cool, just turn over what you got. And what we'll do, we'll make it what it is because we're just following reality. Diddy's like, well, hold on now. If I lost the case, I'm down to still do it with you, but I got to be able to control it. Now, Diddy was probably going to kind of shape this doc to make it look like, hey, this was malicious prosecution. They kind of went really hard at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a perfect guy, but I am a good guy.
Yeah.
And Diddy was like, I need to be able to craft it. And Netflix was like, no, you're not. And he's like,
well, my question is, did he sign the footage over to Netflix so they own it? Mm-mm. Like, how were they able to do this without his?
No, but he didn't pay for it. So essentially, they're calling it a payment error.
Ooh.
So essentially, the deal falls apart, or he's like, yeah, we're not going to do this.
So awkward.
And the people who did the work that have all this footage, they're like, so wait, you told us to film because this is going to be on Netflix. Now you're saying Netflix doesn't exist and we're not getting paid because Diddy was going to pay with Netflix money. And Netflix realized this and they went to the filmers and said, hey, give us.
One name that keeps getting dragged into this mess is Courtney Burgess, the guy claiming he's got flash drives supposedly tied to Kim Porter. He says those drives contain shocking images and videos of celebrities caught in compromising moments. But when that story hit the internet, commentators jumped straight into fantasy mode, throwing out names like Snoop Dogg without a shred of proof. Here's what gets lost in all that noise. Kim Porter's own children have publicly denied that any of those files are real. Federal investigators haven't verified a single piece of what Burgess claims to have, and nothing has been confirmed through official channels. In any real legal process, anyone shown in that kind of footage would be viewed as a potential victim, not automatically guilty of anything. When you look at the facts instead of the frenzy, it's clear. The flash drive story is built more on internet imagination than actual evidence. There are no verified documents naming Snoop Dogg, none. No confirmed footage, no official reports, nothing that links him to any criminal act. What really happened was the same old internet pattern. Speculation turning into assumption, and assumption turning into truth. That's the cycle. Someone hints, others repeat, and before long, rumor becomes headline and headline becomes belief. It's the perfect recipe for internet chaos, and it spreads fast. Here's the thing. Having unverified material doesn't equal proof of anything. Courts need context, corroboration, and credibility. Online gossip doesn't need any of that, and that's exactly where reputations get wrecked without due process. So when people start saying Snoop's panicking over supposed flash drives, they're skipping every step that actually matters. There's no sign he's been questioned, no sign he's under investigation, and as of December 2025, not a single legal action with his name on it, period. Now, let's talk about Suge Knight, because his name always pops up when these stories start circling again. Over the years, he's thrown heavy accusations at Snoop, betrayal, guilt, and even ties to the tragic death of Tupac Shakur. But let's be real, these claims resurface every time the music world goes through another wave of public reckoning. They're dramatic, yes, but they're not backed by evidence. Suge made most of those claims from behind bars, often during interviews to get attention more for their shock value than their substance. And Snoop, he stood firm, flat out denying those accusations, calling them false and fueled by long-standing rivalry and resentment. What really matters here is that law enforcement has never brought charges against Snoop in connection with Tupac's death. So when you strip away the drama and look at the facts, there's no case, no proof, and no new revelation, just a pile of recycled drama wrapped up like breaking news. The internet don't slow down, it doubles up. Even when the facts don't line up, new theories keep popping out of nowhere. Every few weeks, a fresh clip, a recycled quote, or a blurry screenshot starts trending like it's a smoking gun. But when you actually trace these posts back, they almost always lead to fan pages, gossip blogs, or anonymous accounts chasing views, not truth. It's a loop, one that keeps feeding itself because outrage gets more clicks than accuracy. What's wild is how easily the narrative shifts depending on who's talking. Some claim Snoop's next to fall, while others say he's the smart one staying quiet. The contradictions don't even matter. The goal is to keep people guessing. That's how social media controversy works now. Attention is the new currency, and the louder a story sounds, the faster it spreads. Meanwhile, Snoop Dogg keeps moving like nothing's changed. He's still performing, still hosting shows, still building brands, and staying visible across every platform. That doesn't look like someone hiding or panicking. That looks like someone unbothered. Every public move he makes undercuts the online storyline that paints him as running scared. If there was something real behind these claims, staying in the spotlight would be the last thing he'd do.
For being out there and allowing Misa to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family. He vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never f***ing with her again, and I ain't never f***ing with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead. So if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing the Hoboken hustle, trying to fool a brother. But had he killed my man or something like that, I wouldn't have no conversation with Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done? You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, you know, Suge made Puff feel like I'm gonna get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason he was mad at Puff, and Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge, it was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy And it was death row. It was no East Coast and no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast niggas was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I got to get at the Suge. The Death Row East Coast, the Death Row East was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now, they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy so they could straighten out the between Pac and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself. And got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight. Got mad at them. And Zip hung up the phone behind that. So what you mean about...
One name that keeps getting dragged into this mess is Courtney Burgess, the guy claiming he's got flash drives supposedly tied to Kim Porter. He says those drives contain shocking images and videos of celebrities caught in compromising moments. But when that story hit the internet, commentators jumped straight into fantasy mode, throwing out names like Snoop Dogg without a shred of proof. Here's what gets lost in all that noise. Kim Porter's own children have publicly denied that any of those files are real. Federal investigators haven't verified a single piece of what Burgess claims to have, and nothing has been confirmed through official channels. In any real legal process, anyone shown in that kind of footage would be viewed as a potential victim, not automatically guilty of anything. When you look at the facts instead of the frenzy, it's clear. The flash drive story is built more on internet imagination than actual evidence. There are no verified documents naming Snoop Dogg, none. No confirmed footage, no official reports, nothing that links him to any criminal act. What really happened was the same old internet pattern. Speculation turning into assumption, and assumption turning into truth. That's the cycle. Someone hints, others repeat, and before long, rumor becomes headline, and headline becomes belief. It's the perfect recipe for internet chaos, and it spreads fast. Here's the thing. Having unverified material doesn't equal proof of anything. Courts need context, corroboration, and credibility. Online gossip doesn't need any of that, and that's exactly where reputations get wrecked without due process. So when people start saying Snoop's panicking over supposed flash drives, they're skipping every step that actually matters. There's no sign he's been questioned, no sign he's under investigation, and as of December 2025, not a single legal action with his name on it, period. Now, let's talk about Suge Knight, because his name always pops up when these stories start circling again. Over the years, he's thrown heavy accusations at Snoop, betrayal, guilt, and even ties to the tragic death of Tupac Shakur. But let's be real, these claims resurface every time the music world goes through another wave of public reckoning. They're dramatic, yes, but they're not backed by evidence. Suge made most of those claims from behind bars, often during interviews to get attention more for their shock value than their substance. And Snoop, he stood firm, flat out denying those accusations, calling them false and fueled by long-standing rivalry and resentment. What really matters here is that law enforcement has never brought charges against Snoop in connection with Tupac's death. So when you strip away the drama and look at the facts, there's no case, no proof, and no new revelation, just a pile of recycled drama wrapped up like breaking news. The internet don't slow down, it doubles up. Even when the facts don't line up, new theories keep popping out of nowhere. Every few weeks, a fresh clip, a recycled quote, or a blurry screenshot starts trending like it's a smoking gun. But when you actually trace these posts back, they almost always lead to fan pages, gossip blogs, or anonymous accounts chasing views, not truth. It's a loop, one that keeps feeding itself because outrage gets more clicks than accuracy. What's wild is how easily the narrative shifts depending on who's talking. Some claim Snoop's next to fall, while others say he's the smart one staying quiet. The contradictions don't even matter. The goal is to keep people guessing. That's how social media controversy works now. Attention is the new currency, and the louder a story sounds, the faster it spreads. Meanwhile, Snoop Dogg keeps moving like nothing's changed. He's still performing, still hosting shows, still building brands, and staying visible across every platform. That doesn't look like someone hiding or panicking. That looks like someone unbothered. Every public move he makes undercuts the online storyline that paints him as running scared. If there was something real behind these claims, staying in the spotlight would be the last thing he'd do.
So, I don't know where you get all the extras from, but they had a conversation at the hospital and all that. That's absolutely not true. Say less, if you know what I mean. But instead of just saying less, since I've been in here, Snoop and other people been having people trying to bail the guy out, Keefy D, because he talking too much. Raising them trying to do stuff for Puffy because they say he's talking too much. They even had somebody talk to me and say, hey, you can help him get free. I said, look, I don't have nothing to do with none of that, and I'm not leaving prison to go to Nobody County Jail. To the point they were saying, well, you can't leave and sacrifice a little bit in the county jail to stop that black man from getting life. Hell no. I ain't wishing bad on him at all, because I don't want to see nobody go to prison. And like I told you last time, since I find out more details about certain things, I probably would go to the Vegas County Jail if me and Keefy D with Sellies. We have a good conversation after I give him, six upside his head, another 6 in his body, and another 2. But yeah, that's definitely didn't happen with Snoop didn't go to the hospital. That's a lie.
There are no charges. There is no disappearance. The real story was never about Snoop Dogg panicking. It's about how fast a narrative can twist when an empire starts to crumble. The second Diddy's world began falling apart, anyone who had ever crossed paths with him got dragged into the mess by default. That's how the internet works. Guilt by association, attention by assumption. When the smoke from one scandal rises, people start searching for the next person to blame. As the fallout around Diddy keeps unfolding and more verified details surface, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. This isn't about evidence anymore. It's about control of the conversation. The louder the speculation gets, the harder it is for facts to cut through. Everyone's chasing a headline, not the truth, and in that chaos, even the innocent get painted with suspicion. That's the real danger, not what's being said about Snoop, but how quickly a rumor can rewrite reality before the truth even gets a chance to speak. And right now, the truth says exactly this. There's no investigation, no criminal tie, no missing footage, no hidden case, just digital noise echoing through an online culture that confuses attention for accuracy. The question we should be asking isn't who the internet wants to target next, it's whether we'll let the truth finally speak louder than rumor. Because the more we chase unverified stories, the more we feed a system that thrives on confusion, not clarity. Every repost, every breaking update, every half quote adds fuel to a fire that burns real reputations while leaving the truth buried. And that's where we draw the line. It's time to stop letting speculation write the story before the facts do. The next chapter shouldn't be built on whispers. It should be built on evidence, fairness, and reality. If you want the real story, not the noise, not the clickbait, but the verified facts, stay tuned. Follow this series as we keep breaking down what's real, what's twisted, and what's next as Diddy's empire keeps unraveling and the truth finally steps into the light.
In a documentary, there's a couple things I'll share with you guys on what I took away from it. But Rob, maybe share the clip on how he got access to some of the footage of the documentary. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day? Perhaps.
Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix.
So that doesn't mean it's not true.
Of course.
But they relied on stolen footage, okay, is what they relied on. And then they ask about the history of 50 and him, issue that they've had. What's the one you just pulled up, Rob?
This is where they talk about the feud, and then I also have 50 Cent talking about Diddy's reaction to the documentary.
Yeah, that's so funny. That is so funny. But watch this one here. Go ahead, Rob.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
Yeah, I mean, so that's that part, right? The fact that the feud with the two of them, hey, let me take you shopping. Like, you say that to a girl in 50s, like, what are you talking about? Take me shopping. How do you have a flipping mind? You want to take me shopping? And then last but not least, Rob, the other clip you have of 50 is talking about how he thinks Diddy's going to like this documentary. Go ahead, Rob.
Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
She can't even hold it.
Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see